Right, and so let's talk a little bit about the Boxrec's history and
Yeah.
how it became an official record for everyone, or
Hmm.
I guess for who is it like associated with now? In 2016, they become Box like
Uh,
a site of
so
record.
so like the Association of Boxing Commissions in the United States, they basically there's this thing called the Ali Act, which was a set of laws passed around boxing, and one of the
Right.
laws is that they have to have an official record keeper. And for the longest time, it was this company called Fight Facts, which uh,
So let's start there. Let's start with Fight Facts versus Boxrec because this is where I was
yeah,
reading about. So
yeah,
here's
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what I know. I'm gonna tell you what I know.
Okay, sure.
So Boxrec was this indie project. People were working on it. It was fun. Volunteers, Shepherd,
Yep,
whatever. Like that's what I think. I don't know if I'm correct or not. So that was like an independent thing. No one was using it officially. I mean, probably a lot of people were using it, but not officially.
not officially.
And then there was something called Fight Facts. And by the way, I went on their website. I don't know if it's still around because the website looked like it's not a
Well,
website.
we'll
But
get
we'll
into
get
that.
into okay.
We'll get into that too.
So the Fight Facts was something that was official
Yes.
all this time. So how long was it official? Like when did it all like first start? Fight Facts.
Probably in the early 90s, I would say. I think they bought out another company. I want to say they bought out something like I think there was a company, they used to put out a record book called like the Computer Boxing Record Book or something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but basically, I think Fight Facts bought that and then it became the Fight Facts Record Book. And basically, every year, Fight Facts would send out this giant. I wish I had one in my apartment I could show you, but I think my
Yeah.
wife made me get rid of a lot of my books. So I'll at some point if I find one, I'll show it to you. But it's this like thick, ridiculously thick, like 700-page book they would mail out every year with all these records in it. And so, in addition to doing that annual book, they would, it's like they would basically commissions would require matchmakers to get faxes from them for the most up to date information, and then they would have to show those faxes to the commission and go, okay, this is the guy's legitimate record. So it was fax based, and they had hours of operation. So as you can imagine, when you're getting to the modern era, that is ridiculous. Like hours, like faxing, like that maybe made sense in the 90s, but like as we rolled into the 2010s, like why it needs to be all digital. So
Boxrec didn't have I'm sorry, Fight Facts didn't have a website back in the, like, I would say early 2000s.
Really. They did and they didn't. So they had a website, but it was mostly just they used it for their suspension data, and you would have to basically the way they would make their money was they would charge people, charge matchmakers for fight faxes, and they would also charge matchmakers and whoever to log into their suspension database, and they would get like to view it for like 10 minutes and they have to pay $5 or something. It was like silly. So none of that shit was free. I'm swearing. I apologize.
It's okay.
But none of that was free.
It's not the worst thing that people said on my podcast.
Yeah, I didn't mean, yeah, I was like, I'm going to swear at some point. I just knew it.
Sure.
No, but so none of it was free. And I think that was like a source of frustration in the boxing industry. And Fight Facts was supposed to basically, they promised over and over again, oh, we'll have a digital website just like Boxrec. This was their mantra every single year.
And so Boxrec was already there, right? On the background, people already knew about it and they would use it.
And I think what Boxrec did was to get that contract, they basically designed their website to the ABC specifications. Like John worked and Marino worked really hard with the ABC to basically build the site for the last few years around what they wanted. So the system for them is like really good. It's sleek. It's a good UI, and they can do what they need on it.
And so let's for a second finish the story with Fight Facts. Okay, so what happened with Fight Facts once the competitions became fierce with Boxrec, or like at what point? So they were still official. Like by the year 2012, they were still an official record keeper.
Yes.
And they were still, but at that time, how was their website? Was it resembling?
No, they never had they never had a website that they promised, and they would say this every year. And I mean, up until 2016, I think it was either 2016 or 2017 was the year that I went to the ABC convention. Basically, Boxrec did their presentation on like this new UI and this new website that they just built for the ABC. And Fight Facts said they were going to build a website, and they promised to do it, and they just never did.
And so, who was owning Fight Facts at that time?
FightFacts is owned, I believe, by Annabelle Miramontes, who is an IBF supervisor as well as being the owner of FightFacts. So,
so there's a little conflict there. I'm smelling
a little. Yeah. So
was it a for-profit kind of a business, FightFacts? If you're paying for everything, it didn't go to like some nonprofit, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
501.
I believe it's a for-profit. I don't know like how they work, but like, yeah. So basically, eventually, like Boxrec ended up being we basically got the contract to be a record keeper, but FightFacts got it as well. So they basically had these two record keepers, which
that's interesting. Hold on, how did that happen?
They did a vote and they decided to give the contract to both of us.
So I read on Wikipedia. I'm not gonna lie, I just Wikipedia'd the whole thing, and I was like, sure, I did my homework for this book.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But like I talked to actually a lot of people from different publications about Boxrec before preparing for this one.
Yeah.
So there was some vote on FightFacts, and quotes that I was reading is that FightFacts proved to be 100% accurate. What do you say about this? And is that and so that's why it was kind of voted to be a record keeper.
They claim it's 100% accurate because they had one advantage over all of us, which is that they directly got the commission reports. But there are plenty of errors in FightFacts records over the years, and I've documented them myself because I have received those faxes from matchmakers, and they screw up too. So that line on the Wikipedia, I'm very aware of it, and it's total horseshit. They're not 100% accurate. We're not 100% accurate. Mistakes are made. So to say that they're 100% accurate is
mistakes were made. I like this. That's my favorite phrase.
Yeah, like it's just silly. It's just silly and petty. And they would always put out things like press releases and stuff about like kind of just taking a dump on Boxrec a little bit on like fightnews.com like a few years ago. Right. So I'm a little bit like the salt is real. Like I'm still a little salty about that. I'm speaking for myself here. I'm not speaking for Boxrec.
Absolutely.
I was personally salty about it. And so
I mean for the good reason. I mean they're pretty much,
I think we were
thinks about you.
I think we were much more respectful about the whole thing than they have been to us.
So that's where I'm like not understanding that story behind it. So let's talk about this whole like feud between Boxrec and FightFacts and how it happened and how come the vote, who is actually voting for this and whose idea was that to vote for two record keeping organizations to be official.
Yeah, so the ABC basically like representatives from every state in the United States. They either it's like they'll have somebody like a representative go to the meeting and actually vote on like rules and bylaws and stuff. So those are the people who actually vote. And at the time they had done this, they just proposed like a bylaw that said they were going to give both of us the contract. With this,
and just for the record, ABC stands for American
Association of Boxing Commissions. So it's U.S. people vote. There are some Canadian commissions that are also associated with the ABC. So they exchange data and stuff, but I don't think they really vote on rules. I know there was like a Brazilian commission that was there when the year I was there, and Puerto Rico was involved. So it's not just America, but it's mostly like American commissions, to be honest. But like they're the ones that kind of vote on the rules and regulations of how boxing is governed. So yeah, like you said, they had this thing where we were getting the contract for the same, at the same time they were going to give two people the contract, but there was sort of like a stipulation of like, there's an expectation that we want a website that things need to be moved digitally, and we're going, we want a system that works for us. And to be honest with you, Boxrec did what they asked for, and FightFacts didn't. So eventually they had a vote. And I think it was either 2016 or 2017. I'm sorry, like my timeline's kind of sucks, but like I remember they had a vote, and basically what happened was they voted to give Boxrec the sole contract, and they voted to not give FightFacts the contract at all. So FightFacts is not the official record keeper anymore. They are not. I don't if they claim they are, that's a lie. They are not the official record keeper of the Association of Boxing Commissions. Boxrec is. We are the only ones that are. So
and what does that mean, official? What does that entail? Is that entail more money, some sort of how does this work? What does contracts, what are the benefits of getting that contract?
The commissions basically have to report all their information to us, like results and everything. They can't say, well, we can't do it for X reason or we don't want to, because that was not
exchange.
Yeah, the information exchange is huge. We were often denied information from commissions for whatever reasons. It was very hard to get official results when we didn't have the contract. And yeah, and John and Marina that Boxrec is their business, so I don't know exactly the goings on behind the scenes, how they make money, whatever I know there's like ads and they do their own thing, but yeah, there is definitely like a financial incentive for them to get the contract. It is a good thing for them. So they can keep their business going now that they have the ABC contract. And now that we have the contract, we could start focusing on adding features to the website that are more fan friendly and not like the commissions want it, so that's what I think we want to go back in that direction.